All right, let's cut across right now, viewers, to my colleague Rajesh Pawar, who's joining us from the streets of Kyiv. Rajesh, good to see you safe, good to see you back. Very quickly, Rajesh, the last time you were on air, you actually pointed out that you could hear a missile fire behind you.
Can't hear you.
Rajesh, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yes, please
Rajesh,
continue.
good to see you back. I'm asking you, the last time you were on air with us, you told us you could actually hear a missile in the background.
Yeah.
Do you know what the target was now?
Listen, there was no firing, no any kind of air attacks or missile attacks in 16 hours. Then from 9 o'clock in the morning today till now, till about 12, there have been almost 24 to 25 blasts. They could be missiles, they could be arty fire, they could be rockets. But there have been 23 to 24 blasts in last 3 to 3.5 hours. And right now I'm standing on the road which goes towards the main train station, Vokzalna here. And it is full of people. I just came out to the station. It's not permitted to record inside, but there are cars standing outside the station. The place is packed with cars, and everybody who's left behind, or people who are trying to fight back, trying to leave their families, telling them to go out of Kyiv. Probably they're anticipating an attack tonight. If I could show it around, I'll turn my camera around. If you can show it to the viewers. That is the main train station there, Vokzalna, with green light, and see the number of cars packed outside. This road is generally empty, not so many cars ever there. Too many people there trying to leave now. Most of the people left the city 3 to 4 days back, but I think these are the people, the family people of militia or the military man who are staying back, but saying goodbye to their families to leave the city and to go to a safer place. Over to you.
Rajesh, clearly we've seen in the last 5 to 6 hours as well that there's been a huge thrust where Russia is concerned on being extremely aggressive. You said there was a lull of 19 hours, and then in 6 hours, in the last 6 hours, there have been 24 strikes. Now, it could be anything. It could be, shelling. You don't quite know where it is. But have you seen anything on your own?
Look, the shelling, the nearest which happened to me was about 3 kilometers when I was in the city center. So the nearest shell which fell on the city was about 3 kilometers from the city center. It's impossible to see the impact of the shells or the missiles from that distance, especially when you're surrounded by the buildings. You can only hear the noise. Had it been nighttime and had I been on a high-rise building, probably it would have been easier to see or capture on camera. In daytime, when you're surrounded by buildings all around, it's impossible to see anything. And it is not yet verified, not yet known where these shells have landed, what is happening. But my guess is that probably it is that army, the Russian army, which has amassed outside on the outskirts of Kyiv, about 13 to 14 kilometers away, which was picked up by the American satellites, a 64-kilometer long convoy. My reading is that probably the arty firing especially was meant for the defenses which Ukrainian army is trying to build up right now.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Rajesh. We can hear you.
Yeah. So I think this was a kind of arty firing or rockets fired by MBRLs, multi-barrel rocket launchers, onto the defenses which Ukrainian army is trying to fortify around Kyiv, so that when the Russian army launches their final assault, they are not delayed. Over to you.
Rajesh, you've been studying how Russia is being very strategic, slowly escalating its aggression. You've studied it very closely. Do you see where Kyiv is concerned? That is now in its final chapter. There could be a siege of Kyiv very soon.
Look, this is already like a siege city. Looks like a city under siege right now. Except for the cars of military people and of militia, you don't see any people around, not much of movement around. Everything is closed. So it is more like a city under siege. And as far as the attack is concerned, I think in case there is no diplomatic progress by today evening, the attack may come in any time in next 24 to 36 hours. However, I also feel that there have been a lot of progress on the diplomatic field, because President Biden today morning has called up, I don't know if he called up or not, but had made an offer to Russia that they are willing to waive off all these sanctions, willing to take them back if Russia comes to negotiation table and stop further assaults inside Ukraine, as well as Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, today morning has said that he is willing to meet face to face with Mr. Putin and discuss all the concerned issues. Over to you.
Rajesh, you've been following the politics as well. Of course, you're getting us a ground situation. It's extremely brave with what you're doing, but you're also very closely clued in the political developments there. You're saying there could be a diplomatic breakthrough in the next 24 hours. If not, then the attack would be bolstered. Now, the diplomatic breakthrough, Rajesh, could rest on only two issues, at least till now. The sticking points are only two: the neutral status of Ukraine and the territories recognized by Russia as independent territories.
Yes, I agree with you. In fact, that was the beginning point. That was the beginning of the whole conflict, which we see right now. These two are the starting points, and they will continue. They will continue to be the main issues throughout this negotiation. But why I'm saying that there could be a diplomatic breakthrough is because of certain factors. There is tremendous pressure right now on American president from European allies for three main factors. First, this nuclear reactor which has been attacked today morning in Zaporizhia. In case there is a radiation leakage from that, it could heavily affect Central European countries, which are also part of NATO. Besides this, if you have paid attention to the statement of President Macron of France yesterday after talking to Putin, he said that French economy has been badly impacted by the sanctions which they imposed on Russia. Thirdly, the gas and oil prices in Europe and all over the world right now are skyrocketing. All these things put together are putting huge pressure on President Biden to somehow seek some kind of negotiations with Russia. And that is why he made this offer in the morning today that they're willing to take back all the sanctions in case Russia comes to the negotiation table and hold these hostilities right now. Over to you.
Rajesh, let's delve a little deeper in the point number one that you mentioned, the overtaking of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant by Russia. Do you see that as a turning point in this war right now? Because like you said, it impacts Europe. It also impacts Russia if there is a leak.
Look, as far as the radiation leakage in Zaporizhia nuclear plant is concerned, if there are winds going from east to west, Central Europe will certainly be affected. And the radiations could reach as far as Western Europe into France and Germany and Austria. So I think, yes, this is a huge pressure and Europe understands the danger of this. And it is a bargaining chip now in the hands of Russians because they totally control this reactor now. Their forces are physically present there and they are in physical control of this nuclear power plant. Over to you.
Rajesh, you've been in Ukraine, you've been speaking to the people there. I want to get an understanding right now. There has been a fierce psychosis of sorts where Kyiv is concerned, bracing itself for the biggest assault and the attack to come. It hasn't come till now. Do you see that? Do you see the people breaking a little, or they're as galvanized as they were on day one? Do you see those cracks in the fabric of citizenry?
See, the civilian population of the city has almost vacated the city. Many people whom I spoke to, they have all vacated the city and they are not in the city anymore. And most of the people here are only militia and the military people. And they are the people who are hardcore Ukrainian nationalists, willing to fight till the end. They are the only people staying back in the city right now. And I don't see any kind of their determination going down or their spirits not as high as they were earlier. Over to you.
All right, Rajesh, you be safe. We're going to continue to come back to you. My colleague Rajesh Pawar on the streets of Kyiv right now. And what is interesting is that he's encapsulating after a lull of 19 hours. In the last 6 hours, there have been 24 explosions. Whichever way they've come in terms of shelling or a missile attack, he's not quite sure, but 24 explosions. And if there's no diplomatic breakthrough in the next 24 hours, one could see a bigger assault where Kyiv is concerned. We're going to go into a quick break. To stay with us. Our continuous rolling coverage on the invasion of Ukraine continues.